What's up, manifestors? Welcome back to another episode. Just a reminder that you have the power to create worlds inside you. You're worthy, you're exactly where you need to be, and you're loved beyond comprehension. Let's get on with the show. You're listening to The Vibe with me, your host, Kirsty Jane Aston, your home of all things ascension, spirituality, and vibrational wellness. Thank you for joining me, divine being. Much love, appreciation, and namaste. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of my brand new podcast. I am so excited to be doing this with all of you today. If you don't already know me, my name is Kirsty Jane Aston, and a few of the labels that I go by is I'm a professional performer, a law of attraction coach, and an energy worker. So basically, I have my YouTube channel and I have my other socials and things like that. But I basically these days never do anything unless I have absolute divine guidance, because I just find it so much more efficient for me and it gets me to where I need to be a lot quicker. So I'm always looking for signs and synchronicities of things that build momentum about my desires, basically. So I had the impulse, let's say, to make a podcast for a while, but it was kind of just low-level momentum. It wasn't like I need to do this right now. It was just kind of low-lying momentum. So I asked for signs. I said, if this is something that I need to be doing, then let me know. And I did get a few signs and synchronicities. But interestingly, my biggest kind of confirmations always come through people that are closest to me. And I have a beautiful soul sister and best friend, and she called me the other day and she asked me for some energetic advice, as she put it. I gave her that, and then after that she said, I actually really needed to hear that. You should totally do a podcast, because I would listen to it. And for me, that was kind of the last bit of confirmation that I wanted or needed. Because we are so connected in that way, I usually do get messages straight from my guides or my higher self through her, and through other people that I'm very, very close with as well. So here we are. I've got to be honest with you, I am kind of just doing this episode today, not really even finalising the name of my podcast. But if you have already found it on Spotify or whatever platform you're listening to it on, then you will know the name by now. And if you are watching this on YouTube, then I will definitely post the name of it at the end so that you always know where to find it. This is just going to be a space where I can be myself and speak my truth, and anyone who resonates with that will be there, basically. And I know that whatever I put out, if you're viewing this, if you're listening to this, then you've been guided to this for some reason, whether it's to kind of spark some inspiration in you about something, whether it's to alert you to some concepts that you hadn't been aware of before, or whether it's even just to challenge your belief systems. And I'm just going to be speaking from my perspective, and obviously everybody has their own truth. And I just always advocate that, having your own truth, and not everything that I say might resonate with you, and a lot of what I say might resonate with you. And either way, it's totally fine, because we all have our own truths at the end of the day. And so this is just going to be my perspective on the topics that I'm mentioning through my experiences. So without further ado, I thought we'd get on to the main bulk of today's episode. I had a lot of topics that I was kind of umming and ahhing about what I would mention in the very first episode. But honestly, the thing that's just been on my mind most is the most recent experience for me that I've had. And that is about social media and our awareness. What is happening to our vibes when we are engaging with social media? So a little bit of the story about the experience that I've had recently is, so being a young woman, I've had social media in my life for basically as long as I can really remember. From about the age of 9 or 10, I think I've been involved with whatever was out at that time. I think it was like MSN and Bebo and things like that. Great. I just used to get home. I remember getting home when I'd finished school and just quickly as quick as I could logging into MSN and seeing what everyone was doing, and you'd put every one of your friends' names in the little box at the top or whatever of MSN and just chatting. And that was the first form of kind of social media that I'd ever engaged in. And then obviously Facebook came along shortly after that, and then you have Instagram, you have Twitter, you have TikTok, which I don't have, but there's just so many platforms and there are so many pros and cons to these social media platforms. But excuse me, but the experience that I've had recently was, I have been doing a lot of work over the last year on being really aware, really raising my awareness on my habits and things that may not necessarily be serving me, whether it be thought patterns, limiting beliefs, relationships, and just things like that, really. So I've been priding myself on now being aware of the things that I'm doing, giving my energy to, that may not be serving me. And I think that's so apparent, especially during this time that we're going through, is that all of the things that aren't serving us in our life are being brought up to the surface for us to really examine. And it's like, I was thinking about this last night, and it's like if you're going through your closet and you're having a clear out, it's like picking out a t-shirt and saying, do you want to take this with you if you're moving house? Like, do you want to take this or do you want to leave this? And that is, in my opinion, what the universe is asking us to do at the moment. It's saying, do you want to take these habits with you? Would you like to take these suppressed emotions with you that you've been carrying your whole life? Would you like to take these habits with you? Are they serving you? And it's just all been brought up to the surface to be looked at. And so I've been doing an awful lot of that. One of the things that I did not realise was having such an effect on my energy was social media. And that's because I think it's been so ingrained in us, and me especially, from such a young age. Like, I was kind of unconscious to the fact that that was even a thing that I was giving my energy to, just because it's like breathing. It sounds so sad, but honestly, it just makes you realise that you really have to raise your awareness to be fully cognitive of the things that you are giving your energy to. And so what happened was, I'd been receiving guidance again that I needed to take some breaks from social media. One way or another, I kept having signs. Interestingly enough, actually, it was the same soul sister who had said, oh, I've taken a break from social media, like I've deleted all my apps. And so that was the first kind of catalyst ball rolling in my head of, that would be cool. Like, why don't I do that? Because at the moment, I'm just willing to let go of anything and everything that isn't possibly serving me. But so she said, like, I've deleted all my apps on social media. I feel so much better. And for me, I had some resistance to that because part of my purpose, I believe, is to like reach a lot of people. And so when I say a lot of people, I mean, it could be one person or it could be 1 million people. And that the number doesn't really matter to me. It's just more the fact that I want to be able to pass on any light that I can to people that it might resonate with. And so I use socials for like business things and obviously like YouTube and stuff like that. And there are so many benefits, as I've said, but I think I was very resistant because I was like, how am I gonna kind of get myself out there and get what I want to say, like my truth out there? And so that's why I didn't kind of just like sever my attachments to it straight away. But the more that time went on, there was this moment where I was just sitting on my bed and it was a perfectly lovely day outside, and I could have been going for a walk, or I could have been doing literally a billion other things that would serve my energy and my growth and expansion. But instead I was literally sat inside just scrolling through Facebook. And the level of awareness that came into me just then, whether it was my guides or my higher self, or literally just me realising what it was that I was doing, I literally threw my phone across my bed and I just said, what the fuck am I doing? What am I actually doing? Because it's a lovely day outside and all I'm doing is just scrolling through a whole load of nothing. And this is where it really, really dawned on me. And I was like, oh God, like, this is like a problem. And I wouldn't say that I'm someone who was like addicted to social media in the sense that I wasn't on it 24/7, but I definitely wasted a lot more time than I should have, just basically doing nothing, just passing the time. And I think there's a lot of reasons why we can do that. But anyway, so I logged out of all of my socials. I kept Messenger because I still wanted to be able to talk to my friends and my family, etc. So I kept that, but just logged out of everything else. And I just went for a walk, and straight away, like, I've had such profound realizations, honestly, since coming off social media and having a break from it. Because even just that day, I went for a walk and I was so present, and it just really dawned on me that I hadn't been present for basically years. And there was like a morning that happened to me where I was like, how much time have I actually wasted scrolling through social media? And I'm not saying that you can receive signs through social media, and you can obviously it's good to like catch up with what your friends are doing and stuff like that, but how much time have I actually wasted not being in the present moment and being wrapped up in what other people are doing, or just seeing what people are saying that's just really irrelevant to me, you know? And there was like such a profound realization for me that there was such a lot of time that had been wasted. And I don't really believe in having any regrets, but I definitely realised that was a massive realisation that I needed to have, because going forward, I need to be present. I need to be present with what I am doing and what I'm manifesting, etc. So yeah, it was just a huge realisation. And this is just basically me being able to raise the awareness that we can't sometimes have for ourselves. And it honestly is astounding. And I'm just going to go into some of the pros and cons, in my opinion, of what happens to our energy when we're involved in social media. And yeah, it had such a huge effect on me. And it's been just over 2 weeks now, and I've logged in twice to do some businessy related stuff. But the changes in my energy have actually just floored me. And I think I had the perspective before where I was like, oh, like I don't really give too much of my energy to it. Like it doesn't really affect me. But it did, and it does. And only after, it's like being on a drug, I guess. Like only after you're off it can you realise like how actually entrapped you might have been in that cycle. And it is just habits. It is mostly just habits that we get into. And I think if it's things like scrolling, that can sometimes be like a time filler or a time waster, because I think sometimes we're really not able to just be able to sit by ourselves in silence, for example, and not have to do anything with our hands. Like, especially people from my generation and below, I think that there's such a hyperactivity that comes with having to be so stimulated all the time by things. Like, I remember that I used to be like watching TV. I used to have like my laptop on, I'd be doing something on them, and I'd also have my phone and I'd be like checking socials. And I just think like that's fine. That is so fine for everyone to have their choice of what they want to be doing. But it's also having the awareness of what is actually going on with your energy when you're doing things like that. And for me, one of the things that I really realised was if you're scrolling through social media, if you are viewing lots of people's posts, the minute that you log in to a social media platform that is literally used by billions of other beings, you are basically opening yourself up to all of the vibrations of those people. And unless you are super, super good at guarding your energy and being aware of what is going on with your energy, then you're susceptible to be compromised by their vibration. So whatever the vibration of that person was when they made the post, for example, you're going to receive that vibration. So if they were in a really shitty mood, you're then going to receive the vibration of a shitty mood. And if you aren't, flying high that day, that's going to compromise you and you're going to get sucked into that. And it's just it's just astounding that you realise that all of these people's vibrations you're susceptible to. And so that's why I always say, like, have a good old clear out of your social media, not from an egotistical standpoint of like, oh, well, I don't like you kind of thing, but just like, you don't need to be seeing what everyone's doing. Like, you really don't. And have the things on your socials that really resonate with you and the people that inspire you and the people that, you vibe with, but just clear out all the rest, because you're just lending yourself to be compromised by their vibration. If it's a person that you don't necessarily resonate with, and you're just like following them because you want to see what gossip they've got, or like how they're looking, what recently has happened in their life, and just like compare yourself to them, then it's just about, is that what you want? Like, do you want to take that with you into the next state of your life? And do you want to be just basically following other people because you're basically using your socials as like a reality TV show, you know? And I think that is such an important point to make as well, is that social media is such an illusion. It is an illusion. And I know there's definitely been times in my life where I would have like sat on my phone and been like, oh, my photo didn't get as many likes as I wanted it to, or how many people have viewed my story, or like who's viewed my story, and things like that. And I just think like we have to realise that all of that is illusory, and social media really feeds into all the holes that we might already have in our energy. So if you are someone who holds the vibration of like jealousy, for example, then social media feeds that. So you'll go onto social media and you'll just be drawn to things that make you feel jealous of other people, or judging of other people, and like it's just such an addictive thing. The same thing goes for like body shame. I think that's a massive thing as well, is that's such an ingrained part of society that honestly I really hope that we're getting out of now. The more people that learn to be sovereign of their vibration and kind of know how to deal with those things. Body shame's a massive thing, and it's no one's gonna pull out the worst picture on their camera roll and put it on social media. And I'm not saying that's what we have to do, because social media is a creative platform at the end of the day. I'm never going to judge someone for having a filter on their face, or for editing their picture, or doing whatever they want to do, because it is a creative platform. It is an illusion. The whole thing is. And I think so many people give their power away in that respect, and they judge people like, well, they're using this filter that makes them look like Kim Kardashian, and I feel misled by that. They're misleading me. And it's like, well, no, you're actually letting yourself be misled. You have to have that level of discernment and be like, okay, I know that person isn't necessarily representing themselves as I have seen them like day to day, but that's okay. That's not your place to judge. Like, you don't know what's going on in that person's universe. You don't know what they're going through. And so I think the most important thing to do is, if you're not resonating with what that person's doing, then you don't have to follow them, but you can just leave them with love and compassion and just say, okay, I respect you for your choices and what you're doing, but that doesn't necessarily resonate with me. That isn't my truth. But just because something isn't your truth doesn't mean that you have to berate people for not seeing the world the same way that you do. And I just think it's such an important point to make, is that not everyone has the same truth as you when it comes to social media. And so one person might be using a filter because they are self-conscious about their acne. One person might be using it because it looks nice with the continuity of their page and the way that they've decided to display themselves in that state. And one person literally might not put that much thought into it at all. Not everyone's going to see the same things that you do, and not everyone's going to share your opinion. And I think we can just get so wrapped up sometimes in what other people are thinking, doing, saying, like what the trend is. But honestly, away from all that, it's just like, just take a second to ground in yourself. Like, what do you think? What do you want to do? And don't just jump on the bandwagon of what anyone else is doing, or like how things are supposed to look on social media. And if you do want to drag up the worst picture of you, like eating crisps in bed at 1 a.m. and put that on social media, then that's totally fine as well. There's no right or wrong to any of this. It's just about having your own discernment. And yeah, so the illusion of social media is such a thing that I feel like we need to be aware of as well. It's like, what was I saying to my sister the other day? I said it's like, do you want to be the character in the play and be kind of in it and believe that those are your emotions and this is your life and that all of that's real? Or do you want to be the actor who's playing that character, who has that other level of awareness of, yes, I'm choosing to play in this whole game of social media, but I have a life outside of that. That's not who I am. I'm just choosing to play in this dimension for a while, and just not attaching your self-worth to social media. I think that is the biggest thing. It does not matter if you have like 1 follower or 1 billion followers. It doesn't matter if you have 2 likes on your post or 20 million likes on your post. You still have the same worth. It doesn't matter like how much interaction you have on social media. And I think that we do get caught up in that, and we believe that we're not good enough as someone else because we didn't get enough likes on our picture or whatever it is. That is just an illusion, and that's just feeding the holes in our energy that we might have about who we are and what makes us worthy. And it is really sad, honestly, because even I remember times that I've been on social media and I've been like, why isn't my post getting this many likes? Or like, that must mean that what I'm saying or what I'm presenting isn't good enough. And you have to just realise that all of that is just bullshit, basically. And also social media is like just an absolute minefield for like censorship and for the algorithms and things like that. If Instagram doesn't like things that you post, it will censor you. It will stop people from seeing your posts. And I just think that's such a toxic thing that's happening. But hopefully we're going to evolve from that very shortly. But yeah, it doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't mean anything. And just really know that just know who you are outside of social media is the most important thing, I think. And it's like, if you want to spend lots of time on social media and you're crafting, say, like a small business, for example, just don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Like, go outside and take in the air, or spend time with your family and like be with a pet. And they're all such simple things, but the simple things are the best things, in my opinion. And it honestly has astounded me, because my friends know me. Like, when I worked on my last contract on my cruise ship, I literally would always buy the social media package, because I'd always want to be seeing what everyone's up to, and like I liked posting stories and what I'm doing and where I've been. And don't get me wrong, I'm still going to do that, and I like that, but I'm not ever going to hold the same sort of importance that I held on it. It's just a massive game. It really is a massive game. And it is just all about having your own discernment and being like, is my habit on social media serving me, or is it hindering me? And if it's hindering you, then get off it. Whether it's like only logging in once a day, for example, once a week, whatever you need to do, you don't have to do what everyone else is doing, just because it might be a massive part of our kind of like social culture at the moment. Doesn't mean that you have to do what everyone else is doing. Just have your own truth and your own resonance. And I think that it is just such a huge part of our culture. And I also think that it has been such an amazing way of contacting people and staying in contact, especially over the last kind of 18 months that we've had. Because I know that I wouldn't have been able to get through some of my like dark times if I hadn't had like YouTubers to watch, for example, or if I hadn't had my friends on social media to cheer me up and stuff like that, or just watch a funny video for 5 minutes and just like get myself out of whatever funk I was in. And it is a great way to be able to connect with people when we do live in this technological age. And there's definitely so many pros to that, and being able to use that and having the instantaneous contact with people is amazing. But I just think also we have to be aware of the other side of it and what we're actually giving our power away to. If you're on social media and you're ever feeling like you're jealous of someone, you're comparing yourself to someone, that you should look a certain way or feel a certain way, or that anything about you is not good enough or not worthy, then I would just suggest taking a step out of social media and realising that there's work that you need to do on yourself before you can let your vibration be free with everyone else's. So I thought I would just mention some of the things that I've learned to do and some of my advice when it comes to social media. Number one, I think, is to set boundaries. after realizing what it is that resonates with you on social media and what doesn't, what's serving you and what isn't, make sure that you've set your boundaries. Are you gonna be scrolling till 1, 2 a.m. when you could be getting an extra 2 hours sleep? Are you gonna go on people's profiles on purpose that you know are gonna trigger you? Or are you not? Are you gonna just log in once a day? Are you gonna just go on when you feel like you actually have something to say and post and speak your truth? Are you gonna like judge people? Are you gonna purposely go on social media and like write a nasty comment underneath someone's post? Because that's just a gross disservice to yourself more than anything. But it's just, what boundaries are you gonna set for yourself? Are you gonna set the boundary that you are only going to go on social media when you're in a good vibration? Because that is something that I definitely am going to do from this point forward, is that I'm not going to go on social media and let it feed my bad mood. I'm not going to go on there when I'm not feeling my best, when I've not protected my vibration, and just allow social media to fill in all those like open wounds that I have. It just doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I definitely say like protecting your energy field is such a massive thing to do before you go on social media. And it sounds like you'd only do that like when you're doing meditation, etc. But honestly, in terms of your energy, I would really recommend it. Either just visualizing yourself being in a bubble of white light and saying like any vibrations which aren't mine can't pass through this bubble that I'm in, because then you're just protecting your energy from everyone else's vibes that they're projecting through social media. At the end of the day, we are just massive balls of vibration, and you have to be clever with what vibrations you interact with and know which vibrations are helpful for you and which aren't. And yeah, I just say awareness is absolutely everything. Just being aware of the things that you're doing, not just on social media, but in your life in general, that really aren't serving you. And just because they might be something that everyone else is doing, or most people are doing, doesn't mean that it has to resonate with you and it has to be your truth. Only do things that feed your highest self and feed your highest timelines and allow you to expand in the most exponential way, and just get rid of all of those habits that really aren't serving you. And I know it can be hard. I really do know that it can be hard to let things go, and you do go through a period of kind of like mourning of like, oh, that was a part of myself that I thought I was, but I don't need that part anymore. And stepping into the unknown can be quite a scary thing, because you really don't know what is ahead for you. Sometimes you don't really know what a part of yourself is without that habit. But especially when it comes to social media, I just think awareness really, 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 really is key. And I just can't really advocate it enough. I've probably said awareness about 100 times in this podcast, but I can't advocate enough the importance of being able to observe yourself day in, day out, and see what it is that you're doing that isn't serving you. And then from that standpoint, you're able to collect your thoughts on it and actually take action on those things that you really, really don't need in your life. And another thing that I'd say about social media is that I just think we need to spread more compassion and love and positivity and less judgment, because in judging other people, you're always just judging yourself. Like if you're going on someone's profile and saying like, if you see comments like you're overweight, or I don't like the way you present yourself, in whatever fashion that comes, the only thing that person is doing when they're making a comment like that is like, I'm basically showing you the trauma that I have in myself, where I don't like that part of myself that I'm commenting on about you. And I don't like you because you've triggered a part of me which I don't want to look at. And so I just think we really need to inject a massive like bubble of love into social media. Just stop judging people altogether in daily life, obviously. But I feel like sometimes on social media, people think that just because they're behind a screen, they can just say what they like. And it's like, no, just be a nice human. Just spread love and positivity. You don't have to, if you don't agree with someone, that's literally totally fine. And that's great. Everyone needs to have their own perspective, but you don't have to be so polarizing. You can love everyone from afar. Just love everyone without condition, you know? And it doesn't mean I love this one person unconditionally, but then I don't like this person, because that's not what unconditional love is. Unconditional love means I am love without condition. And if you're saying like, I only love this person unconditionally, then you're saying like, I'm conditional with my love in the fact that my love depends on what person it is. So just practice what you preach, basically. And yeah, just awareness is key. And that's, I think, all we've got for today. Thank you so much if you have listened to this podcast. And thank you also if you're watching this recording on YouTube. I honestly appreciate so much your support. Let me know if you are watching on YouTube what you thought of it. I will post the name of this podcast at the end so that you can follow it on Spotify or whatever it is on. Don't forget, if you do want to check out my YouTube channel when you aren't already on it, my channel and all my socials is I am KJ Aston. So please come chat to me. I have a Law of Attraction and Lightworker page on Facebook. I would absolutely love to connect with some of you, all of you who want to connect with me. And I hope you have the most wonderful week, whatever you're doing. And just be mindful of what you are doing with your energy. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time. For more energetic content, search I am KJ Aston on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.